Hello everybody, this is Howie from How I Learn. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to the first episode of our new series called How I Learn to Code, where I will be recording the entire process of me learning to code from scratch. I actually started yesterday. Well, I started a while ago, but I decided to do this and kind of did some more serious preparation yesterday, so I went through all of my resources. So this is where it all started. This is the How I Learn to Code workflow. I'll add a link to the description, and it'll always be available, and I will, update it as I progress. So after researching lots of resources, I created a list of my favorite resources. Of course, these are all free, so create a list of best free resources in Google Drive, and that's this document. And that will, of course, also be in a link. There will be a link in the description for you to check out. It will become a better list soon, but these are somehow the things that I liked the most until now. And yeah, of course, the structure of this workflow might also change. This is what I thought would be interesting. So the best free resource that I found is FreeCodeCamp. So I'll start with that. I already started a few days ago, and I finished let me check, I wrote that. I finished all sections in the first part and came to lesson 21, and it took me about 4 hours. So these first sections in the FreeCodeCamp, I'll probably go through them a bit quicker because I already know them, but we'll see how it goes from there. And I'm thinking of writing short, super short, just keywords, what I learned here, and so FCC is FreeCodeCamp. And of course, if I use any other resource that day, I'm going to add that here. And so this is going to be a weekly summary, like a Gantt chart or something. And let's say, whenever I don't understand something, let's say I'm here, I learned a few, so it starts with HTML, of course. I can already write that. And then let's say there's something I don't understand, or I check some other resource, I'm going to do something like this, and then write the question here, but what about blah, blah, blah. And then, I'll somehow write the steps I follow to find the answer for that. And then, so you guys can always follow my process. Of course, please, if you have any questions or comments, ideas, or resources, whatever, if you want to learn with me or if you want to share something, please let me know in the comments, and then I'll check them and hopefully mention them in the next video. So let me know. Hoping of creating a video almost every day, hopefully every day, but we'll see how that pans out. So yeah, if I use another source that day, I'll add it here. And I'm hoping of creating weekly summary videos, because these videos will probably be pretty long, but it's still good to have them so that you can, if there's anything that, if you want to see how I learned a particular thing, you can see it from this workflow document, and then go to the corresponding video. I'll of course add YouTube links to each of the relevant videos. Yeah, that's how I'm thinking of doing it. Of course, as time goes on, we'll see. We'll make it better together. If I start using any new tools, I'll probably put it in here. Maybe if there are some other great resources, I'll put it in here. If there are any other resources that I start using as main sources, I'll add it here. And then I'm thinking of adding, just a rough time here, how much time I spent learning, including everything, So this is going to be, in the end, hopefully we'll be able to see how many hours it took me to reach from 0 to hero. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I appreciate any type of feedback that you may have. This is also going to be a public sheet, so this part only I will be able to edit, but if you want to add comments or something, you can add it here. Please be respectful. If I see, I won't check this part all the time, but if there's some not so nice comments, I'll try to delete them, and if it gets overwhelming, I'll just delete this sheet maybe. Right, so I'll add notes. I'm thinking of copy pasting the entire text part from FreeCodeCamp here first, and including my answers. My answers meaning, if you've seen, well, you'll see it in a while. FreeCodeCamp teaches you something and then, tells you to apply what you just learned. So I'll just copy paste the answer in here. That's the plan until now, at least. So let me just get a piece of paper so I can write more notes. Okay, sorry about that. Next time I'll do that beforehand, of course. Okay. Yeah, I hope the audio isn't too bad. I'm thinking of buying a microphone soon, but couldn't buy it yet. So this is what FreeCodeCamp looks like. I'm already registered, and so as you can see here, it says you've completed 0 out of everything, and then you can go to the curriculum. Let's check the main curriculum first. Let's see what they offer. And as you'll see, they have lots of courses. They've somehow calculated that they each require 300 hours. I'm hoping to, complete all of them. So let's see. The first one is responsive web design. Let's see. I'll just maybe add this to the coding notes. That's cool. Okay. Or maybe I'll just, let's see. Does that make sense to have all of these in there? No, I guess for now it's okay. So we're going to start with basic HTML5. Do I want formatting? Yeah, why not? That's kind of nice. And maybe there are also links. So we're starting with responsive web design certification and basic HTML and HTML5. Then it looks like it goes to CSS and then responsive. Okay, that looks like it's pretty logical. Of course, okay, then it goes to JavaScript. And then it uses some frameworks. I think that's what they're called. React, Redux. I think these are all JavaScript frameworks, or don't know yet. And then, right, so that's the front end. Oh, I want to keep this other resource open as well. What was that called? Like this. Not cheat sheet. Not like a map of what you have to. Like a roadmap. Yeah, I think it was called roadmap. Oh, there we go. Oh, but there was a website actually. There we go. Developer. Web developer. I'll just add this here. And then I think, yeah, you can go to this website. Okay, front end and back end. So of course we'll start with front end first. Okay, this is also good to, check once in a while. But I guess I don't need it all the time, but it can just stay here. Okay, so let's get started. So like I said, I think it makes sense to copy paste everything before I start the course. So this is going to be, I'll just do this to make it easier to understand and to have some kind of structure. I think that would be a good idea for FreeCodeCamp to do that for themselves. Okay, so this will be 1.1. Well, it's actually 1.1.1 because, so this one has, so this is 1. This one is 1.1, right? Basic HTML, and this is 1.1.1. Okay. Okay, so welcome to Like I said, I'll be going quickly through these, well, a bit quicker. Oh, by the way, I'm thinking of making this video about an hour long, so it can be a bit longer because today there was a long introduction. So let me just put a timer, set a timer, so 11:55, let's say 12:55. So just a bit over an hour. Okay, so HTML, you can edit your code in the coding editor right here. Do you see the code? Yes, I do. So this is an HTML element. Most elements have an opening tag like this. Oops. And a closing tag with a slash. So that's the closing tag. The only difference is the slash. Each challenge has tests you can run tests. Now it says to pass the test, change your H1 element's text to say hello world. So it says hello right now, and here's the preview window, as you can see, the HTML window, so to speak. So you just type world here, and there we go. And once you're done, you can press Control Enter or click on Run the tests here. It's the same thing, and then it'll check your code, and then it'll confirm or not. And then to move to the next section, you can always press Control Enter again. So I'll also copy paste my solutions here. Oops, to the end. There we go. And then we're done. Legend, wait for it, dairies. So a big check mark means everything was fine. You can download the solution. I don't need to because I'm going to be saving it into that document. Oh, and I'm also thinking of, right, so I need a new document. Hello? Like, so coding questions, maybe something like that. Because I don't want everything to be in the same document. Coding questions, research, like things that I didn't understand or that I think like I maybe understood but I might forget. So like important summary, something like that, you know? Yeah, summary, questions, research, something like that. We'll see. Of course, for now it's really easy. So number 2, 1.1.2. Headline. Over the next, we'll build an HTML cat photo web app piece by piece. The H2 element you will be adding in this step will add a level 2 heading to the web page. Okay, so there's H1, H2, H3, 4, 5, 6. Different levels of subheadings. Add an H2 tag that says cat photo app to create a second HTML element below your hello world H1 element. So of course, you know, you can always cheat, like copy this here and then like I pressed Control C, or you can also use the mouse, of course. But I think it makes sense to write as much as you can just to get faster, to get used to it. So I'll open the H2 element and then I'll type cat photo app and then I'll close the H2 element. And instead of completing the whole, right, like typing everything yourself, the editor here will try to, you know, identify what you want to write, and then if you press enter, it can help sometimes. So I think, let me copy the answer. So I don't need the first part because that's already there. Control enter, everything's fine. Next section, copy paste. 1.1.3. Inform. P elements are the preferred element for paragraph text on websites. P is short for paragraph. You can create a paragraph element like this. So it has the same opening and closing tags. Create, and it should say hello paragraph. Okay, so P, hello paragraph, P, right? Yes, that should be, oh wait, I should check first. Yes, okay, so I'll paste my answer, my solution. Next chapter. Oh, cool. If we call them chapter, it'll be, you know, interesting. It'll be like very fulfilling. Oh yeah, I'm already on 4th chapter 4. So fill in the blank with placeholder text. Web developers traditionally use lorem ipsum text as placeholder text. The lorem ipsum is randomly scraped from a famous passage by Cicero of ancient Rome. Good to know. Has been used in okay. Well, 5 centuries is long enough. There you go. Yeah, let's be a bit more modern. I mean, let's keep tradition, but you know. Okay, since we're building again, let's use something like kitty ipsum text. Okay, great. Replace the text inside your P element with the first words of this kitty ipsum text. Replace. So we're going to delete this. Kitty ipsum dolor. Maybe that's enough. And you already see it's here. I'm not going to copy paste the solution to this one because it's just super easy. There we go. That was fast. Uncommon HTML. Now why? uncomment. Oh, sorry, my bad. Commenting is a way that you can leave comments for other developers within your code without affecting the resulting output that is displayed to the end user. It's also a convenient way to make code inactive. Right. Makes sense. Okay, yeah. So best practice, guys, whenever you're writing code, please don't forget to add lots of comments, like explanations, because you're going to forget things. If you've created some complex loop or whatever, it just helps you and it helps other people that will use the same code. It's just a great idea. And if you have too much comments, you can always delete them. Of course, you shouldn't have unnecessary comments, right? Just think about things that will help you in the future. So in HTML, this is the way to open a comment section, and this is the way to end it, to start and end. Uncomment your H1 and H2 and P elements. So if I just delete this and this, that should uncomment it, I think. Let me see. Yeah, everything's back to normal. So I don't need the solution to that either. That's just deleting that. Comment out. 6. Remember that in order you need to use here you'll need to end the comment before your HT element begins. So comment out your H1 element and your P element, but not your H2 element. Okay, so but not your H2. So let's end it before H2, and they also want us to. Okay, I just copy pasted. Sorry about that. There we go. And then here, there we go. That should work. Do I need that? No, don't need the solution to that either. It's just super easy. Delete HTML elements. Our phone doesn't have much vertical space. Let's remove the unnecessary elements so we can start building our cat photo app. Delete your H1 element. Okay, I guess that's just this. Great. Introduction to HTML5 elements. Now we're getting a tiny bit more serious. 1.1.8. Sorry about that. Okay, some descriptive HTML tags. Header, footer, nav, video, article, section, and others. So, descriptive HTML tags. Just going to add that here. These tags make it easier to read. It also helps with search engine optimization and accessibility. Okay, the main HTML5 tags helps search engines and other developers to find the main content. Note, many of them are covered in the applied accessibility section. Okay, create a second P element after the existing P element. Okay, P. With the following kitty ipsum text, like the entire text? Okay, maybe I'll copy paste this one. Because I can already type fast enough. And then /P. Wrap the paragraphs with an opening and closing main tag. The paragraphs. Okay, so that would be here, I guess. Let's see. So down here, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Down here you have a summary of the things of your tasks. So it's a bit easier. The main element should have 2 paragraph elements as children, right? So it shouldn't have the header. And then I'll close this. So I guess I can copy this. Why not? Control Enter. Okay. No mistakes. Add images to the website. One 1.1.9. Is 1.1 correct? Responsive. Let's check the curriculum quickly. Sorry about that. This is going to be lots of structuring as well. So basic HTML. Right, so this is 1. This is 1.1. Introduction, and then this is 1.2 already. Right, so 1.1. Blah blah is right. Okay, add images to your website. You can add images to your website by using the img element and point to a specific image's URL using the src attribute, like source, I guess. An example of this would be, okay, opening bracket, image source is equal to a URL, and then you close the bracket. Note that image elements are self-closing. Okay, so that means the image element doesn't need a closing thing like this, right? So main, you have to open it and close it, but the image, you don't need to close it. So that's a good note, maybe. Image elements are self-closing. All image elements must have an alt attribute. The text inside an alt attribute is used for screen readers to improve accessibility and is displayed if the image fails to load. Oh, right, I think I know what this is. Right, if you can't load the image, then the alt text at least tells you some information, you know? It tells you what the image is about. If the image is purely decorative, using an empty alt is a best practice. Oh, because it doesn't convey any information, I guess. Ideally, the alt attribute should not contain special characters unless needed. Let's add an alt attribute to our image example above. So this was image source is equal to blah, blah, blah. And then instead of closing it here, we add alt and then the text in quotation marks, quotes, and then we close it. Okay, let's try to add an image to our website. Insert an img tag before the h2 element. So image. Now set the source attribute, src, so that it points to this URL. Oh, okay, so did you see that? So I'm just going to type src is equal to, and I think it puts in the quotations itself, is equal to. Okay, no, I just put in one and it added the second one, so you don't have to close it. I'm sure there are better tools out there for HTML like coding or all sorts of coding, and we'll get into those. I don't know which one's better yet. I think FreeCodeCamp tells you to use some other ones, yeah, especially when we switch to JavaScript, I guess. So that looks fine. Do we need an alt? Finally, don't forget to give your image an alt text. Okay, so that's the source link, and now I just start an alt element. Oh, sorry, alt attribute, and then image of cat. So I'll just add this part. I guess, I mean, it's sometimes the solution is very similar to the explanation, like this example here. It's kind of the same thing. So maybe at the, when I feel it's too similar, maybe I just won't copy paste the solution. Link to external pages with anchor elements 1.1.10. Yeah, let me know if this is somehow too fast or too slow. I can, of course, adjust the speed a bit. You can use anchor elements to link to content outside of your web page. Anchor elements need a destination web address called an href attribute. Href. Like href, H maybe from HTTP, not sure. Hyperlink, maybe like hyperlink attribute. They also need an anchor text. Here's an example. A href, so this is an anchor. Anchor elements. I want to write that down. And then it needs an href attribute. Yeah, I think, okay, I need to slowly understand what elements are and what attributes are. Elements, attributes, tags. I think those were the technical words until now, at least the main ones. Okay, so and then the link, and then after the link, they're closing the opening tag, and then some sort of text. I guess this is the text that will be displayed, and then closing the anchor element. Okay. Then your browser will display, right, okay, the browser will display this as a link, and if you click this, it will take you to this page. Yeah. Create an A element that links to and then, okay, so create an A element, an anchor. So the anchor needs an href attribute is equal to, I'll copy paste this link. And then I have to close this, cat photos, and then closing tag. Yeah, that's pretty simple, but hey, better safe than sorry. Control Enter. Great. Maybe later. Yeah, I should donate to FreeCodeCamp. 1.1.11. Anchor elements can, okay, so link to internal sections of a page with anchor elements. Oh, that's cool. Anchor elements can also be used to create internal links to jump to different sections within a web page. To create an internal link, you assign a link's href attribute to a hash symbol. Okay. You need oh, so now there's a new attribute, an ID attribute. To create to hash symbol. Okay, below is an example. href contacts header, and it says contacts. Okay, and then you need to add the ID to that element. So the ID is added to the h2 element, contacts. Okay, so when users click here, they'll be taken to, no, sorry. When users click here, they'll be taken here. Yes. Change your external link to an internal link by changing the href attribute to footer. So our link is up here. So footer, I guess. And the text from cat photos to jump to bottom. Okay, so you know, you've probably seen these before, right? So if you want to quickly jump to the bottom of the page, right, that makes sense. Remove the target is equal to blank attribute from the anchor tag, since this causes the linked document to open in a new window tab. Oh, okay, so let's undo that. I just want to quickly see. Right, so with this target is equal to underscore blank, it opens it in a new blank website page. And if I delete this, it'll open it in this tab. So I just opened a new tab. Let's see if that is true. So I'm deleting this. I'm clicking on cat photos. Not working. Don't know why. Maybe is that why? What happens? That's weird. Maybe it's like FreeCodeCamp is protecting us from leaving the page. Okay, so can I redo? No, I can't anymore. Okay, so I'll just replace this with a footer. Deleted that text and jump to bottom, right? Image sorry, then add an ID attribute, right? We want to tell, so now we're saying, you know, this jump to bottom should be a link, an inside, like an internal link. It should go to footer, and then we didn't tell it where is the footer yet. So I guess we want it to go to the footer, and apparently you have to add it inside the opening tag. And so ID is equal to footer. Is that how that works? ID kind of, yes, that looks good. So, and this, right, up here, and I'll just do that. There's more information in between. Control Enter. Okay, cool. Nest an anchor element within a paragraph. You know, it's also good to have this whole thing so I can always search in here. Like, even though the source is free, if I want to remember something that I learned, it'll be hard to find from the FreeCodeCamp website. I'm sure there's a I think there's an offline version. Maybe I should where should I add that? Maybe I'll add that here. Link to offline version. Maybe I need like a, yeah, that's okay. Okay, where were we? Right. Nest an anchor element within a paragraph. Okay, nesting, I guess it just means like, to put something in something. So it's like a sub something. If you have a header and then or maybe not a header. Let's say you have this main element, right? And if you put something in that, then it's nesting it, I think. You can nest links within other text elements. I'm not sure I understand that. Here's a target blank link for you to follow. Let's break down the example. Thank you. Normal text is wrapped in the P element. Okay, so this is a paragraph. Here's a. Oh, and then we have this a target blank, href. So this is the link. Okay, so the text will be link to FreeCodeCamp.org, and this one will be a hyperlink. And if you click on this text in the HTML result, it will open this link in a new page. And then for you to follow is just the rest of the paragraph. And then we close the paragraph. Okay, I think that makes sense. The anchor element with a closing tag, exactly. Target is the anchor that opens in a new tab. Href is the URL. The text will display a link, exactly. The final output, oh, here we go. Here's a link to freecodecamp.org for you to follow. Great. And if I click here, it'll open it in a new tab. Now, nest your existing E element. Where's my, A element. This one. Nest it within a new P element. Just after the existing main element. Okay, so creating a P paragraph element here. Okay, I have to open it. Then I have to nest it here, like this. Wait, yes, I have to, well, maybe it's easier to, so I open the paragraph element, it's nested in here, cat photos. The new paragraph should have the text that says view more cat photos, where cat photos is a link and the rest is plain text. Okay, so view more. Cat photos is the link, and then I have to close the paragraph. The anchor element is already closed, right? Because that was a complete anchor element, right? So I guess that's basically it. Did that work? Control Enter. Yep. Great. Make dead links using the hash symbol. Why would I want to create dead links? Oh, I remember. Okay, yeah. Sometimes you want to add elements before you know where they will link. This is handy when you're changing the behavior of a link using JavaScript, which we'll learn later. I'd say, and it's probably also handy just like, when you're creating the website, you still want it to look like a link and somehow function a bit, but you don't know where it should link to, and then you just create a dead link. So href goes to here at the moment. Replace the attribute with a hash symbol to create a dead link. Okay, so that's just, do I need the quotes? Yes, I do. So now this is a dead link. Control Enter. Great. Turn an image into a link. You can make elements into links by nesting them within an A element. You can make elements into links by nesting them within an anchor element. Okay, nest your image with an A element. So this is my image. If I start an A, so I need a href element. And I already have a link. Oh, that's the source. Okay, I'm a little bit confused, so I'm checking the example, but it's kind of not as efficient because I'm not really learning, I'm just copy pasting. So ahref, apparently this is the example. It should open it. No, this is a dead link, right? Yeah, but it's still a link. Where's a cute orange cat? Oh, that's the alt text. Oh, so now, oh, not yet. So this is not a link yet. Maybe because I didn't close the A element, the anchor element. What about now? No. Okay, ahref hash symbol, ahref hash symbol, image source yada yada, alt text yada yada, closing. Remember to use hash as your element's href in order to turn it into place the existing element within an anchor element. Once you've done this, hover over the image with your cursor. Your cursor's normal pointer should become the link. It should, but it didn't. Okay, so what am I doing wrong here? Oh, the equals sign is missing. There we go. Okay, so now this is a dead link, right? But you can see that the image turned into a link. Okay, now I understand. I mean, I'll probably forget the formatting, the syntax. Okay, Control Enter. No? Oh yeah, I have to be here. Control Enter. Make sure each of your A element has a closing tag. Oops, okay, look at that beginner mistake. So the slash has to come before the A. And I should also correct it here, of course. Right. Next one, create a bulleted unordered list. Alright, I remember this one, so the easy way to remember unordered list is UL, like the first letters of the two words. UL. UL. HTML is a special element for creating unordered lists or bullet point style lists. With an opening, they start with an opening UL element followed by any number of list elements. This is the formatting, LI. Finally, unordered lists close with a UL, with a /UL. For example, would create a balloon, milk, and cheese. Right. Remove the last two elements, P elements. Remove them. And create an unordered list. Okay, unordered list created of 3 things that cats love at the bottom of the page. What do cats love? So this is going to be a list element. They like milk, right? They like other cats, I would say. And they like yarns. Oops. The yarns. Oh wait, what did I do here? Okay, so I have to close all these list elements. Close all these list elements. Oh, damn. Close them with a slash. Yeah, I think that's fine. And then I have to close the unordered list element as well. I just pressed enter and the editor automatically changed the indentation. I don't know why this one, I mean, it's not that important, but it's just easier to understand, especially when you have, more complex websites. It's a great idea to keep the formatting nice and clean. Okay, that looks good. Do I need, why not? Well, I mean, like, this is exactly the same, right? So I'm not gonna paste my solution. Control Enter, everything's fine. Next chapter, ordered list. So this time, instead of UL, it's going to be OL. 1.1.16, I think, yes. Numbered lists, ordered lists, OL, example, hate. Okay. Top 3 things cats hate. So ordered list opened. List element, what do they hate? Water, right? So close this one, don't make the same mistake. Open, what else do they hate? Mice. Forgot to close it. Oh, that's why the indentation didn't automatically work last time, because the closing tag wasn't there. What else do they hate? Dogs, let's say. I mean, I don't think they hate anything. I don't think, okay, doesn't matter. And then close the ordered list. There we go. Control Enter. Great. Create a text field. 1.1.17. Now let's create a web form. Input elements are a convenient way to get input from your user. You can create a text input like this. Input, note that input elements are self-closing. Okay, I want to add some of that here. let's change the formatting of this. Web form. Okay, why not? Create a text field web form getting input from your user. Okay, so input type text. Create an input element of type text below your lists. So new input element. Oh, I don't close it apparently. So type is equal to text, and then close it. Okay. Control Enter. Add placeholder to a text field. Placeholder text is what is displayed in your input element before your user has inputted anything. Okay, like here. So this is the input text. There's no text in it right now, and it's helpful if there's some sort of text in here, right? So input text, before you close it, you type placeholder is equal to, so it says cat photo URL. There you go. So it says cat photo URL here, and you can paste your URL, blah, blah, blah. So again, it's the same thing as the example. Create a form element. You can build web forms that actually submit data to a server. Oh wow, using nothing more than pure HTML. Didn't know that. You can do this by specifying an action on your form element. Action. For example, form action. Okay, I want this in here as well, because I will probably forget. You can build web forms. Form action, URL where you want to submit, form. Nest your text field inside a form element. This is my text field. So form action is equal to, and add the action /submit cat photo attribute to the form element. So I opened the form element, nested the input text field inside the form element. So now I have to close the form element. Is that correcto? No. Make sure your form element, nest your text input element within a form element. Form action. Now I need this. Right, this was missing. Closing bracket, or whatever it's called. Okay, that was correcto. I should know what this is called. Less than, greater than. Isn't it also like a bracket? Programming. Less than, less than, less than. HTML, there we go. Beginning of tags. Okay, so it looks like there's no other name for it. Angle brackets. So it's, I mean, you know, it's okay to call them angle brackets as well. Right, this one we didn't do yet. 1.1.20. Add a submit button. So now we already have a text here. Forgot what that was called. Placeholder, right? A placeholder text. A placeholder text cat photo URL. Let's add a submit button. Clicking this button will send the data from your form to the URL you specified with your form's action attribute. Here's an example submit button. Button type, add a button as the last element of your form element with a type of submit, and submit as its text. add a button as the last element of your form element. So it should be in the form element. And now let's check the syntax. Button. And then you tell it which type it should be. Oh, okay, so it looks like there are 4 button, menu, reset, submit. I like that information. So when you do button type is equal to 4 button types, button, submit, list. Now what were the options here? Button, menu, reset, submit. Button, menu, reset, submit. Okay. Okay. And it says use submit. And then it looks like I have to close the button tag and then add the text. Oh, I have to close the opening tag, sorry. Submit and then close the button. Okay. That looks like it worked. Let's Control Enter. Oops. Oh, great. So I'll paste my solution. Use HTML5 to require a field. Okay, so like, you can't click the submit button if you don't fill this field, I guess. Sometimes you need that, right? Sorry about that. Okay, you can require specific form field so that your user will not be able to submit your form until he or she has filled them out. For example, if you wanted to make a text input field required, you can just add the attribute required within your input element like this. Input type, text, and then just add required in there. Okay. Make your text input a required field so that your user can't submit the form without completing this field. Then try to submit the form without inputting any text. See how your HTML5 form notifies you that the field is required? So form, right? Make your text input, so this one, a required field. So I just add required here. Please fill out this field. Let's see, does the order matter? What if I add it here? Oh, cool, that works too. Okay, that's good to know. I'll just add both solutions here. So then, the question is already answered if I have both solutions here. There we go. Control Enter. Create a set of radio buttons. Okay, this one's the longest one so far, I think. Getting serious here. Don't know why it's not adding the space between some of these, formatted texts. Oh well, because it is here. You can use radio buttons for questions where you want the user to only give you one answer out of multiple options. Radio buttons are a type of input. Okay, what are the other input types? Because here we did input type text. Oh, lots of those. Okay. So these were button types. But there are too many input types, so I'm not going to write them all now. You can use radio buttons. Each of your radio buttons can be nested within its own label element. By wrapping an input element inside of a label element, it will automatically associate the radio button input with the label element surrounding it. Okay, I think I kind of understand. So since a radio button, you should only be able to choose one, right? Only one answer. You have to, or it's a good idea to wrap them in a label element. All related radio buttons should have the same name. Right, exactly. So then the HTML will know that you want the user to only be able to select one of them. To create a radio button group, by creating a radio group, selecting any single radio button will automatically deselect the other buttons within the same group, ensuring only one answer is provided by the user. Here's an example of a radio button. Label Okay, so they're nesting the input type radio within a label. Radio, name, indoor, outdoor. So this is the group name, and this is the text that will be visible. What happened here? Button type. Oh, so they already did this part. Weird. That's weird. It is considered... Why is this already here? I didn't put that in there. If I refresh the page... Interesting. Oh, okay, maybe they want you to... Let's see. It is considered best practice to set a for attribute on the label element with a value that matches the value of the ID attribute of the input element. This allows assistive technologies to create a linked relationship between the label and the child input element. For example, label for indoor, input ID is indoor, type radio, name is indoor, outdoor. Add a pair of radio buttons to your form, each nested in its own label element. One should have the option of indoor, the other should have the option of outdoor. Both should share the name attribute. Okay, the name attribute makes sense. This also makes sense. I don't really understand the input ID. Label for input, input ID. It is considered... Okay, this allows assistive technologies to create a linked relationship. Okay, we don't know yet, I guess, what that means. So I'll add this here. And I'll do something like this. I already added this chapter in here, right? Create a set of radio buttons. Yeah. Okay, add a pair of radio buttons to your form, each nested in its own label element. One should have the option indoor. Oh, okay, so no, why is this already here? Like I created 0, I created a new account. So weird. Create a set of radio buttons. Yeah, it's not checked. Okay, I don't understand. Add a pair of radio buttons to your form, each nested in its own label element. Label, it's already here. Label indoor, label for indoor, input ID indoor, type radio, name indoor, outdoor, the text is indoor. The second one also has the name indoor, outdoor, and label for outdoor with an ID, input ID of outdoor, so everything's already done. Weird. Both should share the name attribute indoor, outdoor. Yeah, I don't get it. But, okay, I understood. Starting with label for, right? Yeah. I'll just copy that. Okay, that's really weird. This didn't happen last time. Maybe later. I hope this one's... Okay, checkboxes. Right. Okay, this doesn't have that mistake or problem. 1.1.23. Checkboxes. So then you can have more than one answer. It's a type of input, of course, can be nested, just like the radio button, I'm guessing. It's the same name. Yeah, this is all the same. An example. Add to your form a set of 3 checkboxes. Okay, to the form. So I'll have to nest it in its own label element, and then for each checkbox should be nested within its own label. All 3 should be personality. Okay, so name for personality. No. So think of 3 personalities for cats. Grumpy, right? Grumpy, and then I have to close this, and then so this is going to be an input, right? Yes, input ID should be personality. Forgot the equals sign. Type should be checkbox, and then the name should be grumpy. Oh no, so this is the group name, so it's also personality. Oh, so the input ID should probably be grumpy. So label for grumpy and input ID grumpy, right? These should be the same. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Personality is for the group, and now I need to close the opening tag and then add the text grumpy that should be displayed. Grumpy. and then close the label. Okay, that looks like it worked. So like I could copy paste, but I just need the practice. So label for playful, close that, and open the input. ID should also be playful, and the type should be a checkbox. And then this one, the name should be the same. Oh, I can press enter, and then it automatically adds the equal sign, so that's good. And then playful, and then close the label, and then another label for what else? Cuddly. Then input ID cuddly, type checkbox, name personality. There's a typo, personality. Close the opening. Add the text, cuddly, and then close the label tag. Add the closing tag. I think that works. I'll copy it, Control Enter. Yeah. And then paste the solution. Loving, lazy, energetic. Okay, that's there. Okay. Check radio buttons and checkboxes by default. Okay, that makes sense. You can set a checkbox or to be checked by default using the checked attribute. To add this, just add the word checked inside of an input element. Okay, again, I set the first of your radio buttons and the first of your checkboxes to both be checked. Okay, so in the input element, so input type radio name, so I just checked, yeah, and the first checkbox, so I can also add it here. Yep, there we go. So you can add it wherever, so the order isn't important, at least yet. Great. Nest many elements within a single div element. Div is like divider, I guess, or division, I'm not sure. Let's see, HTML div element. Does it have a name? Division, the HTML content division element div. Okay. The div element, also known as a division element, damn, it was already here, is a general purpose container for other elements. The div element is probably the most commonly used HTML element of all. Just like any other non-self-closing element, you can open a div element and close it. Nest your things cats love and things cats hate lists all within a single div element. So here, div, and then div. Hint, try putting your opening div tag above your things cats love p element and your closing div after your OL, right? So that both elements are listed. That's exactly what I did. Pretty basic, pretty simple. Declare. Guys, if this is somehow too fast, please, like I said, the first chapters will be a bit faster because I already went through these, but I still decided to start the series from the very beginning. So sorry about that. Just pause the video and try to understand and add comments and your questions, and I'll try to answer them. And the next videos, like starting from chapter, where is it? From 221 will be slower, like normal my pace. Until then, it will be a bit faster. The challenges so far have covered specific HTML elements and their uses. However, there are a few elements that give overall structure to your page and should be included in every HTML document. Okay, so it's like, I think this was like the body element and the header. Sorry, one second. Okay, so I guess this is like the body, No, okay, let's see. At the top of your document, you need to tell the browser which version of HTML your page is using. HTML is an evolving language and is updated regularly. Most major browsers support the latest version, old ones may use Okay, you add doc type. On the first line, for example, you use doc type HTML. The exclamation mark and uppercase doc type is important, especially for older browsers. The HTML part is not case sensitive. Next, the rest of your HTML code needs to be wrapped in HTML tags. The opening HTML goes directly below the line, and the closing goes at the end of the page. Here's an example. So it starts with this. Add a doc type. So I'm gonna, let's just write that. So doc type HTML. And then the opening HTML tag, and then the closing HTML tag. Add a doc type tag at the top. Under it, add an opening and closing HTML tags, which wrap around an h1 element. So h1, header, h1. The heading can include any text. Great! So again, this is the same as the example. Define the head and body. 27. How many are there? How many chapters in the first section? Oh, 27 is the last one. Then we're switching to chapter 2. Right, so this took me over an hour. It took me an hour to reach chapter 22, and now, yeah, I'm at least twice as fast. 27. You can add another level of organization in your HTML document within the HTML tags with the head and body elements. Any markup with the information about your page would go into the head tag. Then any markup with the content of the page, what displays for a user, would go into the body tag. Metadata elements such as link, meta, title, and style typically go inside the head element. I like that information. Here's an example. Doc type HTML head. Okay, so it starts with a head, metadata, stuff like this. Body, contents, body closing, HTML closing. Edit the markup so there's a head and body. So head comes after HTML. Do you have to close head? Yes. I don't know what the head element should contain. Oh, the head element should only include the title. Okay, so here's the title. I can close the head. And the body element should only include h1 and p. So here's the body element, h1 and p, close the body element. That's it. Just like the example. Or very, very similar. Oh, that didn't work. The body element should wrap around both h1 and p elements. Ah, damn, forgot this. Okay. Part 2. Introduction to Basics CSS. So let me check. Right, so that was 1.1. So 1.1.1. Oh. So this one is Basic CSS. It's like 1.2. Yeah, that makes sense. Basic CSS. 1.1 basic elements. I'll use the same formatting. Yeah, I guess I'll go over the formatting when I have time. 1.2 Introduction to Basics CSS. Okay, the formatting is a bit different, but hey, don't want to spend too much time on that. Okay, so what is CSS? Cascading Style Sheets. Tell the browser how to display the text and other content that you write in HTML. Note that CSS is case sensitive, so be careful with your capitalization. CSS has been adopted by all major browsers and allows you to control color, fonts, positioning, spacing, sizing, decorations, and transitions. Lots of stuff. It's like more related to the visual design, I guess. There are three main ways to apply CSS styling. Let's go back to the here. You can apply inline styles directly to HTML elements with the style attribute. So inline meaning, within the element itself. Alternatively, you can place CSS rules within a style tag, within style tags. Okay, so you can either, so let's go back to an example. So here we had for example, we had a label element. So I guess you can add CSS stuff in the element here, or you can create an element called style, a separate element, and then add the styling information in there. That's the second version. And 3, finally, you can write CSS rules in an external style sheet. So that's a CSS file, I think, and then reference that file in the HTML document. Even though the first two options have their use cases, most developers prefer external style sheets because they keep the styles separate from HTML elements. Okay, this is probably interesting information. This improves the readability and reusability of your code. The idea behind CSS is that you can use a selector to target an HTML element in the DOM, Document Object Model, and then apply a variety of attributes to that element to change the way it is displayed on the page. So what is DOM? What is DOM? Document Object Model. The document is a cross-platform and language-independent application programming interface. Isn't that like API? That treats an XML document as a tree structure wherein each node is an object representing a part of the document. The DOM represents a document with a logical tree. Okay, I don't really understand too much, but I guess I will in time. Sorry, don't need this. I'll just add that question, or that, where am I? Right, sorry about that, here. So this is a question that I have to add. Oops, none. Yeah, I think this is what an API is, Application Programming Interface. Application Programming Interface. Application. Yeah. So let's do something like this. I mean, I don't know exactly what an API means, but I see that in many websites, like use the API to automate some stuff. Okay. I guess I'll know more when I have to. In this section, you'll see how adding CSS styles to the elements of your cat photo app can change it from simple text to something more. Upcoming lessons, blah, blah, blah. Go to the first lesson. Okay, so 1.2.1, right? 1.2.1. Oh, that's not how I did it. I pasted it first, and then that's how I did it, yeah. Change the color of text. Now let's change the color of some of your text. We can do this by changing the style of your H2 element. This property that is the property that is responsible for the color of an element's text is the color style property. Here's how you would set your H2 element's text color to blue. H2, adding this thing style. Oh, color, blue, semicolon. Okay. Note that it is a good practice to end inline style declarations with a semicolon. Change your H2 element style so that its text color is red. H2, where are you? Oh, up here. So H2 style. Oh, okay, it's been an hour. So I'm going to finish this chapter and then finish this video. Actually, I'll just finish this video and start chapter 2 with the second video. Okay, so let me just quickly add the two questions that I had here and add the summary. So yeah, so then you can get an idea of how I'm gonna form the summary. So it's a good thing, perfect, that it took an hour. So let's quickly check what we learned in the first part. HTML elements. So opening closing tag, headline. Headlines, opening, closing tags, elements like paragraph, commenting, main. Main's already there, right? No. Why isn't main here? I guess, is that true? Like, main, body, those are all, let's just zoom in. Those are all elements, right? Yeah, I think so. Add images. Adding images, linking them, right? Attributes like img. Oh no, img is an element, sorry. So img, like alt is an attribute. Anchor elements. So anchor, but anchor is a. So href is an attribute, right? Yeah. They also need anchor text. Internal sections, so that's linking. Nesting. Yeah, nesting elements. Nest your existing A element with a P element. Dead links, turn an image into a link. Lists, ordered and unordered lists. Create an ordered text fields. Web form input, text field input, checkbox, radio, submit button. This is a bit confusing. Form element, so that's an element. To require a field, is that an attribute? You can require, for example, if you wanted, you would just add the attribute, right? So it's an attribute, required. Create a set of radio buttons. Input types. Input types, some of them, some. For attribute. Declare the doc type. Okay, HTML doc type declaration. Head and body. Body elements, right, so they're elements. Head, body, yeah. I think that's all right. And then CSS. Okay, so up until now, that's the summary of today of the first part, right? So this is, so I'll like add a link to this video here. and the 2 questions that I had. So that's always what I'm going to do. So this will be this big, and I'll add the video. And then I have 2 questions for this one. What were they? Right. Is there a link to FreeCodeCamp, to the offline version of FreeCodeCamp? And then what exactly is DOM? Oh no, but that's like DOM was that CSS, right? Right, okay, so that's not here. That's for the second section. So that's just, one question for now. I'll add more if I see. Yeah, these phases, I could delete them. They were just in there in the template. I thought maybe it could be interesting, but I guess I'll probably leave them. We'll see. So that's it for the first video. Thank you for watching. Please add your comments, ask questions. I'll try to answer them, and thank you for joining me in this journey. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.